Okay, guys. I'm going to talk about something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. Um, I actually like really long while. I went through a period of uploading loads of videos just on my way to the gym, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about at that point when I was I was most interested in. I was just really this whole channel was just firing off for the first time, and this video was about an experience I had where I was doing. So I quite like to just work in other places, like you know, that's not my house, and not the library. You know, I quite like going to cafes to work, but I also I actually quite enjoy just going to. And it's gonna sound really weird, but a spoons to work during the day, because you get if you go to like a Starbucks or something, it's pretty crowded for a start. You know, you can't get a seat with a plug. Um, it's expensive. I mean, it's a lovely place to work. Don't get me wrong, but with the spoons, you can just turn up, get an unlimited coffee for like a quiz, and just sit in the spoons and work all day, and it's quite interesting because um, you just see kind of how um, you just sort of around all the old men who are just drinking. You know, they're retired men who just day drink basically every day. They'll come in at like 11 o'clock and just get pissed for the entire day. Which is a bit of a weird vibe while you're working, but um, yeah, a bit weird. But anyway, um, so I was in a spoons doing exam actually, and a sort of online exam, and someone came up to me and just asked me. He was like one of these old men who kind of drinks. He's retired, just spends his time drinking in a spoons, and he came up to me and was like, "Can you excuse me? Can you help me with this?" And he just showed me his mobile phone, and there was he just got a message from his network provider, saying he had to fill in some kind of form or something. You know how you get those sort of online forms you got to click on. Or what, I don't really remember what it was, but it was something like that. And I just had no fucking idea what he wanted me to do. And but I could tell he kind of didn't really, know, he couldn't tell. Didn't have a clue how to work his phone basically. And I was like, oh, maybe I've got to click on that. And then I think there was something he had to fill in, like his passport number or something. To be honest, it was probably like a scam. But I said, yeah, well, you got, is it NHS number or something like that? I said, oh, you got your NHS number, and he said, oh, I don't know what it is, and I was like, oh, try and find your NHS number or whatever. To be honest, I probably wasn't terribly helpful to him, because I was kind of focused on my work, and I felt a bit bad because I like that kind of thing that you can just talk to a stranger like that, and I was gonna go up to him as I was leaving, and say, oh, did you manage to sort it out? But he left before I did. So who knows if he got it sorted. But anyway, that's by the by. So I had this interaction with this guy, and he went back and sat on his table, and while I was doing my work, I was kind of looking at him. And I really recognised something in myself. Because what I realised is, well, he didn't really care about, or at least what I think is, he didn't really care about sorting out his phone contracts or whatever it was. But he was what it really was he was just sitting in the pub on his own, and he wanted someone to talk to. And I could tell that there was slightly an instinct he had to just go up to people and ask sort of a question like that as a way of just starting things off. And then, like, I reckon if I said to him, "Oh, never mind that, but do you fancy a drink?" He'd probably be like, "Oh, great," you know. So, and while I saw him sitting down, there was a couple of women who were sitting on the table behind him, and he sort of I can't remember why, but I just saw him go up to them. And he obviously didn't know them, but he just went up to them and said something like, I think they were drinking champagne or something, which seems a bit unlikely in the Spoods, but and he was like, "Oh, what are you guys up to?" or something like that, you know. So anyway, I really recognised something of myself in that, because I'm actually sorry, I'm just gonna take this off. That whole thing of sort of going up to people and talking to them like that, is something I've done a lot myself. So first year at uni, a lot of my friends, first year at uni, I really I really wanted to just basically go out and drink just all the time. That's kind of what I wanted to do, really. A lot of my friends were a bit more, you know, I don't know what it is, maybe more level-headed or more more boring. I don't know, probably a bit of both. But anyway, I didn't really find a sort of friendship group where I could do that with. But I still wanted to go out and you know, go to parties and stuff. And what I kind of ended up doing was just get very good at doing what this old guy was trying to do in that pub. So what I'd do is just kind of basically just go out and make friends when I was there. So like this was my first year was like when COVID was a thing. So everything was shut. So all the parties were just on the campus we were on, and maybe I'd go to me and my friends would go to a Prees or something, or a party, and my friends would just stay for like, you know, a few drinks, then go back home. But for me, I kind of think like, right, let's make this last as long as possible, you know. So I'd go up to I'll just sort of chat to people, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this thing later, maybe," or "Oh, do you want to come walk around Oak House, try and find a party to go to?" You know, and it's kind of like networking basically, and then off like so many times I just end up in a sort of Oak House party. Oak House is just one of the names of one of the accommodations. And you know, I just end up in this party in Oak House just on my own at this point. You know, I kind of blag my way into into it, and I'll just go up to people and introduce myself, and I got very good at it. And in the moment, I'd suddenly be like the guy. You know, I'd be very. You know, I'd be able to bend in very quickly, and I think you know. Yeah, no, I just go up to people like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, good. Who do you know here?" And then I just kind of say like, "Oh, do you know, I don't know, Jasmine?" And that would be like just some random person that I'd just been talking to before, and they'd be like, "Oh no," you know, I kind of bullshit my way. I wouldn't lie, but I wouldn't just outright say, "Oh yeah, I don't really know anyone here." And and I don't know, I just kind of managed to fit in, and you know, in that moment when I was at these parties just on my ones, I was actually what I'm trying to get at is it was like I was friends with all these people in a random room. So I unlocked a very interesting skill where I could just go into a party and with at the click of a few conversations become part of that group. And I'm not saying I was amazing at it, but I realised there's a skill there that I could develop. So and you think, oh wow, you know, most people have to make friends with people first, but you know, isn't that great? You can just walk into a party and blend in, and yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I think there's and I noticed that this is a fairly unique skill because I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, like a few days ago, who was thinking about going to a party with one of his friends. And he said, oh, I'm thinking of going to this party, but I don't know anyone apart from the guy whose party it is, so I might not go. And it's funny, like, that because I've had this kind of training, if you like, of just going to lots of parties on my own. I that didn't occur to me. To me, I'd be like, oh, you actually know the person who hosts the party, like, yeah, easy. And if I was invited to a party like that myself, I wouldn't think twice about going if I wanted to go. So anyway, I think the thing is though, I think there are limitations to this this skill. You want to apply the skill to the proper domain in which it is applicable. So while I kind of learnt this skill of being able to make lots of short-term friends in a party setting, in the long term, didn't actually I was kind of applying it in the wrong way. So I was kind of applying it as a way of making friends. Wait, no, let me think about that. I was applying it in the wrong way. So, here's where I think that kind of thing is good. The kind of skill I've learned is applicable. So I think if you're running a business and you need to network for the business, it's good to be able to turn up to a party. You know, probably more of a drinks party if it's a business. But you know, turn up to a party, just introduce yourself, say, "Oh, hi, I'm Alfie. Oh, who do you know here? Oh, you know, I know so and so, whatever." That's a really good skill. And if you can go to a party like that without really knowing any people, that's really good for so that's sort of networking. But what it's not really good for, I think, is actually making the kind of friendships and the kind, you know, having the kind of experiences of going out and partying. I don't think it's actually terribly good for that, because the kind of friendships you make aren't, like, so many times I just make friends in the moment, you know, and I'll just hang, like, so it's really weird, but I'd meet people just sort of going out on my ones, and would be really cool for the whole night, you know, talk to them really, like I knew them really well. This is what I'm getting at. But then, you know, and I get their Insta, be like, oh yeah, let's meet up sometime. But realistically, like, I'll just never see them again, you know, and that's not on them. I just think that's natural, you know. You can kind of, it's kind of easy to hang out with someone in one night, but that's not really You need something more than that to create a friendship. And just to go full circle, so sorry, I'll probably explain this very badly, but it's just to go full circle. So this guy who was sitting in the pub, trying to make friends, basically. I think he hadn't realised this. So I think back in the day, when he was a bit younger, maybe he could probably just walk into any pub he wanted and have a really fun time. But in the long term, he hasn't quite realised that it's not actually a great way to make friends. You need to bring something else to the table for that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I hope this makes sense. Do some more videos on it when I've got it more established in my mind. But thank you very much for listening.